Hey, world, what's going on? This is your girl, Queen Aishah, and thank you for joining me for another dope episode of I Know Dope People with Queen Aishah. That would be me. We have a very special show today. Let's call it an informative PSA show, so you know some information that I know you can use all year long, but we're going to give it to you today. Thank you for joining us. Our special guest today is my friend, Janel Pulley-Borzotra. Is she going to correct me if I'm saying it wrong? She is joining me today. She is a financial educator. Okay, she's a financial educator, and she's going to share a bunch of information, tools that we definitely can use in regards to our finances, life insurance, how much life insurance you need, all of those things. But before we get into that with my guest, Janel, I just want to go over, I'm going to share affirmation, inspirational soul food thought with you today. Don't confuse your path with your destination. Just because it's stormy now doesn't mean that you aren't headed in the right direction to sunshine. So that's going to get us started on the information that Janel is going to share with us today, because some of us may be going through financial challenges and difficulties. Everything is so expensive. Gas is high, food is high, hair is high, everything is high, meaning expensive as hell. So we're going to talk about life insurance. In case you did not know, September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. So we're going to touch on life insurance, but we're going to talk about our money. Like, what are you doing with your money? Janel has a book called The Money Just Flew Out the Window. You can get that on Amazon. We'll be sharing the link with you with that. So let me introduce to you my friend Janel of 22 years. We actually met as her being a booking agent, which she still does, and me as an artist comedian. She books me for comedy shows. We met 22 years ago. We actually met in Tifton, Georgia, and we've been connected and friends ever since. She actually booked me for my first show of 2023 this year. And what I like about Janel is, if it's possible, she will pull up at the show to make sure her talent is taken care of and doing what they are supposed to be doing as well. So Janel is, she is well versed in finances. She was just giving us a whole bunch of information behind stage before she came, but she said something about an air, something. I thought she was talking about air, like the house is just in the air, like the wind, AIR, not HEIR, but she's gonna get into all of that, how you can get your, not bully your spouse, but you can have your spouse relinquish their rights to your properties and different things if you want to leave it to siblings or children. She got that information for you. She educated and versed in this. So please welcome my great friend Janel Pulley-Borzotra. I know she's gonna correct me. I know you're gonna correct me, Janel. What's up, baby? Thank you.
Borzotra Salongo.
Borzotra. So, that part. That's it. It's like bazooka gun, but no. Okay. Thank you, Janel, for your yes. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate you saying, Aishah, I'm gonna come on this show and share this information with you. So let's get started.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate the time.
Appreciate you looking all pretty and everything. That's skin popping, girl. That's skin popping. So tell us, how did you get into the financial world?
Well, actually, it came to me after I was laid off from Bank of America back in
Mhm.
the early 2000s,
Okay. Okay.
and I landed a position with the property and casualty company out of California.
Okay.
And during the time I was there, we have those benefit days and where we're all in a room together. People come in and work on their benefits. When you're an educator, they're like, "Oh, you want save money on car insurance? You save money on your benefits, and this is how your
Mm-hmm.
benefits work." So I was like a benefits educator.
All
And one
right.
of the colleagues, he worked for the insurance company. He's like, "Do you know you're leaving a lot of money on the table just talking about car and home insurance?" And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Well, what are you talking about?" So then, I learned about the life and health insurance part of the business and not just, pushing the car and home insurance. And so that's how I got all started into, not just being a more of a one-stop shop for people and families in helping the holistic part of your finances versus just, let me save you some money on car insurance.
Awesome. But honey, let me tell you something. The rate of this car insurance now, I don't have no tickets, no points, or anything. Give thanks, but my car insurance is way too damn high. Okay.
Yes.
So if you know how to, if look, one thing can't nobody get is a hookup on car insurance. Ain't that something? You
Well,
can't get no hookup on car insurance. She said, well,
like that great that great song in the 60s was like, you better shop around.
yeah.
They
But
was
I
talking
do
about
shop
something
around,
else.
but it's just like because you want to make sure and see
Yeah.
being in the state of Georgia, Georgia requires a lot of different things. Well, every state requires different things for life for car insurance, excuse me.
Minimums, right? Yeah.
Right. So with Georgia's, theirs are just really interesting. And I guess because they have such a high rate of accidents and things of that nature,
And
like
fraud. Fraud is what's
pro-
driving our rates up. Insurance
wow,
fraud.
really?
Yes, that's part of it. Yes, that's the
Well, I
major.
knew
That's
that.
part of it, because if you have like a parking lot accident and then you have
Mm,
$25,000 in your medical and for per accident, that person is going to go and submit paperwork saying that they went to a chiropractor or whatever doctor and to
hmm.
get you to pay them out that whole $25,000, and you just tapped them on the butt, kind of thing, but it was you're at fault.
Gotcha.
And so then they're finding these companies and providers of health providers that say, okay, I was in this car accident along with the in lawyers, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a
Gotcha.
medical
I
doctor, so I
gotcha.
really didn't know what was wrong with you. But at the end of the day, if it was just a little tap in a
Hmm.
little parking lot accident, they like getting all whatever your policy rates are to the max, paid out to
Mm,
them. So that's part of it. But then there's
okay.
other ways that you can look at, like your deductible. If you increase your deductible to like $1,000,
Hmm.
then your rates go down too. So a
Yes.
lot of people like to
Yes.
stay at that 250, 500, but
Right.
if you go with 1,000, you get a better rate in some cases.
Yeah, I'm a 1K girl.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I'm like, wait a minute. Yes. So that's good information. So when you said fraud, I was thinking along the lines of scamming, but it is the same thing, but just a different. I'm like, how they fraud an insurance company? But exactly through the car accidents. I'm telling you, you can't win for losing.
Yes, I
They.
had this one lady who said that she owned a fur coat in Georgia on
Hmm.
her renter's insurance policy. So she
Hmm.
wanted the company to pay for a fur coat in Georgia. It's hot. They're like, what are you
What?
doing? Then you have to produce receipts. She couldn't produce receipt. She's trying
Right.
to get a new fur coat
Well,
so
but
she
see,
can go
here's
back
the
to New
thing.
York.
I mean, if she, I hear you, but if she was from someplace else that's cold and had a fur coat or had a fur coat for whatever, because in January and February it does get cold here, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't have took that as surprising. But in Georgia, yeah, because they be making up shit anyway. I'm
Yes.
like, you're doing too much. So tell us about your book, The Money Flew Out the Window. How was that inspired?
Well, money just flew out the window. How to create a relationship with wealth, living from
Mm,
paycheck to paycheck. It was inspired by a few things because everybody, when you go to them about something or needing something, of course, when people are
mm-hmm,
asking for donations, then you
mm-hmm,
get some excuses, right? And it's like, oh, well, my money just flew out the window. I don't have nothing for you. And so
mm-hmm,
there's a lot of things that even my mother told me about money. Well,
mm-hmm,
I'm not a bank. Money doesn't grow on trees. And so I kind of put all that into the book to be like, okay, what did my family tell me? It's like early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. So I took,
mm-hmm.
like what's that? Make it rain. I
Right.
took all of those things and what people say about money, and I
Hmm.
broke it down to
Hmm.
where it made sense for like your finances, for like budgeting,
Right.
for like emergency funds. And of course, the my favorite of all is like money is the root of all evil. Well, no,
Mm.
preacher, a man in the pulpit. I'm sorry, that's not what the scripture says.
Right. Right. Right.
So I
What does the
corrected
scripture say? What does scripture say, Janelle?
for the love of money is the root of all evil.
Gotcha.
But
Yes.
if you listen to Reverend Ike, what's wrong with loving money, or what's wrong
Right.
with liking it? Because if you don't have money, then that's when evil happens. When you
Mm.
think about it,
Yes. In most cases, you're absolutely correct. That's true. Is when you do because people struggling very hard right now, and if
yes,
crime is up. So
yes, and that's due
definitely.
to the lack of money. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So the lack of
Exactly.
money is evil. You know, that's
I ain't
evil.
gonna say it's definitely challenging. So you are the founder of the J. Pulley Agency and Rise Up and Thrive Media Company. That's in addition to with your financial education, or do they tie in some way? In some way.
Yes, well, the Rise Up and Thrive Media Group is where I publish my book under
Hmm.
the media
Okay.
group with Rise Up and Thrive, because I want everyone to thrive financially.
Hmm.
Mainly I was inspired, like, to have, like everything that you need. You want to thrive and not just win at something. You want to thrive in your finances, thrive in life, and thrive in every aspect of your life. So that's where the Rise Up and Thrive come from. And then of course the Falcons had something to do with the Rise Up part because I thought, oh, that's a great, brand, that's a great slogan, but let's add something to it, because it's not just about rising up. It's about, really looking at your life in such a way, and wanting to thrive and make it happen in this world.
And want more for yourself. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
positivity.
Yes. So did you go to school? So you didn't go to school for finance. And what did you go to school for? Because financing happened in your work world environment. But what did
Yes.
you study in school? What do you have your master's degree in?
Well, actually, I have to rep my HBCU, Harris
Okay.
State University out of St. Louis, Missouri.
What's the
I'm
name
a
of the school? Say it again.
Harris Stowe State
Harris Stowe
University.
State. Okay,
St.
okay.
Louis, Missouri. We have the Black Queen in the Ebony magazine, and I'm a Hornet, so I'm a graduate of HBCU, and I was a
Awesome.
business major, business administration,
Hmm.
because everything you do in life is about business. You have to,
Yes.
there's nothing that you don't do on a daily basis that you're not having some type of business transaction. You're talking
Hmm.
about business or something happening business wise. So, pursued that, and then of course a master's in business administration with a focus in leadership. So that was like my background, but I have to take all the financial courses, the accounting courses,
Hmm.
and all of that. So I made good grades in those areas. And so, that was where I got my start in like business. And so
Awesome.
working at the bank, I worked at the bank a couple of times in my lifetime. When I was in high school, I worked at the bank.
Okay.
And so I've always been affiliated with a banking institution or an insurance financial institution
And it's so
in my
interesting.
career.
Yes, and you want to be near the money. I get that, honey. You want to be near the money. So, what's interesting is that my mother, my mother was in the insurance business for over 30 years. So,
Okay.
anytime we have a question about insurance, we call her, and she always starts off, well, the laws may have changed, but it's certain things, it's certain states. So she has so much information as far as life insurance, health insurance, and it's really good knowledge. Insurance is complicated. Insurance is a lot of information. But you have to ask questions, and a lot of people don't know that your insurance policy, whatever insurance you have, is your
Mhm.
responsibility to know that information. It's a lot of
Yes.
information. I think it's on purpose to trick us, but it's a lot of information. So, can you elaborate on that for us about the insurance policies, the information, and getting the information that you need for your policy that what pertains to an individual's person's policy?
Well, sure. I'd be happy to expound on that, because, first of all, if you do work for some companies, you get that benefit first day. They say sign a beneficiary
Hmm.
form.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't see the actual policy at your company more over because it's a group life insurance policy
Mm-hmm.
at the company you work for if they
Mm-hmm.
offer that benefit. But I always encourage people, yes, take the policy that you have at your job, but always have something outside
Okay.
and of that. And there's different types of insurance that you would want to
Mm-hmm.
look at. And term insurance is popular because it's kind of like renting insurance. It's a lower fee to get in, but then it's a higher payout to the beneficiary.
Mm-hmm.
But now the insurance companies got smart because they're like, well, let's not just, pay upon death a policy. Let's
Mm-hmm.
give them insurance while they're still living. So there's products out there that it could be a term
Mm-hmm.
insurance, but if you come down with a critical illness, a
Mm-hmm.
chronic illness, cancer, can't take care of any 2 out of the 6 activities of daily living,
Mm-hmm.
they'll pay you a portion of that higher dollar amount figure if something were to happen. And I did have
Mm-hmm.
a personal friend who had one of those policies. I won't disclose the face amount, but
Mm-hmm.
he did come down with prostate cancer, and the
Mm-hmm.
policy paid out 90% of what that face amount was to him and his family. And
Okay.
I'd like to report he did fully recover because
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to your health care expenses and everything, it's
Mm-hmm.
huge of how
Yes.
much that could take you out. And even a friend of
Mm-hmm.
mine, he had Aflac, he had a heart attack. And he
Mm-hmm.
had Aflac, and I was like, "What are you doing, man? You was gone for a while." He says, "Oh, I had Aflac. I was good." And he had a heart attack, and so those type of it's accidental or indemnity policies and everything are very important to
Mm-hmm.
look at. It's like you may have cancer that happens in your family, so
Mm-hmm.
having a cancer policy would be smart to have one just in case. But
Right.
that's the other problem with insurance. Everything's just in case something
Right.
happens.
Because
It
you
is
don't get
not
nothing back.
right. And then, of course, naturally, that's one of the things that happens to all of us. We'll leave this earth one day,
That's right.
but what are you going to do when you leave behind and
Mm-hmm.
you're considered, that you're married, and you lose out on your spouse's income whenever that person leaves the earth. And so now you want something in place to make up for that. And you want to have the right kind of policy outside of your job to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that all of that's covered.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying get rid of your group policy, but do
Mm-hmm.
know once they leave you or you leave them, that
That's it.
policy doesn't exist anymore. And that's one of the big things that happened, a few years ago. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
were getting laid off, and
Mm-hmm.
so I was so happy that my people who were covered were still covered after they got laid off because they
Mm-hmm.
still were able to pay with severance and or the unemployment check their policy. So it's very important.
And I just thought about something you said a few years ago. Also thinking about the pandemic, the insurance companies had to pay out a lot of money with all the deaths that took place, and that probably increased a lot of insurance premiums as well. I just thought about that when you just said that because a lot
Yes, that was
of.
part of it, but we haven't worked for an insurance company. They actually sent me a document with
Mm-hmm.
my because I'm vested with that company that I worked for
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, and they told me like, yeah, it was a huge hit with the pandemic. However, there were the other catastrophes that happened with the claims. So there was a higher rate of claims, especially in
Right.
the property and casualty. But when it came down to the pandemic and people having insurance policies, you
Mm-hmm.
you you have a problem of your beneficiary didn't know they were the beneficiary. The people weren't able to find beneficiaries in some cases, and they weren't able to find a physical policy for their loved one.
Mm-hmm.
So you ran into those issues. So that's why it's important to work with someone and review every year, hey, your policy is in place. Has anything changed with your beneficiary?
Mm-hmm.
Because, if you got the policy when you were married and now you're divorced, guess who the money goes to?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so you wanna
Right.
make sure you keep all of that information up to date in case there's a life change, if you have a baby on
Mm-hmm.
and then you wanna make sure that there's a policy in place, and we're creating $1,000,000 babies because there's, policy out there now to where it's index, universal life. It's like a whole life policy
Mm-hmm.
that's tied to the market. Upside of the market, you get all the benefits, and so
Mm-hmm.
then you can pay those premium and then be able to use that money in some cases borrow from it if you need it at some
Mm-hmm.
point. So there's different aspects of how you use life
Mhm.
insurance now that's way different than just the death benefit. But yes, the insurance companies, did have to pay out a lot of money, but there's still a lot of money out there just sitting and waiting because
Mhm.
there's that communication is so important with family to
Mhm.
know, hey, you know,
Mhm.
I got you down. So if something happens, this is the person you call if something happened to me. So that
Right. Right.
communication and exchange really needs to happen more and more in our community and not
Yes.
just be, silent when it
And
comes
all
to
these secrets.
your money.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So explain to us the difference between group insurance, any type of group insurance, and individual insurance, and then term insurance versus whole life insurance.
Okay. So the group insurance is when you're part of a group, like you're
Mhm.
working with a company.
Mhm.
Say for instance, all the comedians got together and formed an organization and
Mhm.
they want just for the sake of having
Mhm.
life insurance.
Mhm.
So then, five or more people, two
Excuse me.
or more, or five or more people is considered a group, and you get a
Mhm.
special rate. And sometimes the company pays for that rate, and sometimes they pass the premium amount on to you, but it's a
Mhm.
lot less, but
Right.
that's considered really a term policy because it's only lasting for the term that you're there at the job.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
if you're there forever, you can be working on a job 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And then once you leave that place of employment, then that insurance goes away. Or
Mhm.
they say, oh, this is how much you need to pay for a policy outside, and you're much older then. So that's one of
Mhm.
the things that is really important with group insurance, and it's just looking at the opportunity outside, because the younger you are, the lesser the rate. The older you get, the more expensive it becomes.
Because your ass is old. And
And you may have illnesses or taking medications, and all of that stuff factors into the premium when it comes to a life
Mhm.
insurance policy. And of course, the term policies, people were saying, oh, the life expectancy, you have a 30-year term policy. Well, if you're getting it at age 20 and then it's
Mhm.
for 30 years, at age 50
Mhm.
that policy runs out. It's
Right.
no more. So at 50 years old, you're a lot older. Who's to say if you have health
Mhm.
problems? And now you're looking at another 30-year policy,
Right.
for at the rate of age 50. So it's going to be more expensive getting that same term policy um,
Mhm.
30 years later. But had you gotten like a whole life policy, then it lasts your whole life till your age
Mhm.
100. And so I'm happy to say I had four centenarians in my family to live
Okay.
to be 100, and they got a check from the insurance company for whatever the amount was, and we
Mm.
didn't have to, pass the plate or when it came that time when they passed
Okay.
away, because they had the check in the bank waiting for that day to come.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a lot different, but people are living longer, and
Mhm.
that whole life expectancy, you never know the day nor the hour when you'll be called
Mhm.
home, so it's very important to look, to have that. But when you're younger and you
Mhm.
got young kids, and it's important to have something on your children, especially now with all of the what's going
Mhm.
on in America. You definitely want to have some coverage on your child, and it's
Mhm.
really low amount that you would have, have to pay out, because the younger you are, like I said, the less
Mhm.
expensive it is.
Yes. 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 So, what would you say? So, the topic is how much money, like how much coverage do you need? Like, what would you say for someone, a 30-year-old male? And this is all general info, just general
Yeah,
example
we making it up,
information.
y'all.
Right, right. So if you have a 30-year-old woman, a 30-year-old man, male that has no children, first of all, I'm gonna ask this: is it rude if a person passed before they pass away, they've paid off all their debt, they have things in place to take care of things, their services, but they don't leave nothing to their family? Um, is that rude? If they don't have any children or anything,
Well,
that'd be considered tacky.
no, I mean, like everybody says, people's money, what they make, they get to choose what they want to do with it.
Their
Period.
money.
Point blank. I'm
Mhm.
not judging and passing judgment on anybody, what you want to do with your money. If you want to leave money for people, I've talked to several people from all walks of life, and they had an only child and said, I'm not leaving him nothing because so and so and so and so.
I took care of him in my life. Look.
Exactly. So, when it comes to being single, no kids, but you
Mhm.
just, leaving money to a dog or animal, or somebody take care of or something like that, that's their prerogative. And,
Mhm.
if they've got the money to do that, then hey, go for it. And you've got a trusted friend to take care of little JoJo, then hey, go for it. Instead of,
I know
if you don't have children. But no, it's not tacky, especially when you don't have children. It's
Mhm.
just a hardship when you do have children.
Mhm.
My sister passed away 23 years ago, God rest her soul,
Mhm.
with no life insurance and
Mhm.
5 children.
Mhm.
So the lives of those 5 children, ended up with, family. I'm taking care of
Mhm.
them for until they became of age, and some
Mhm.
went off to college. And my
Right.
niece came, she lived with me, and she got herself on the right track, and
Mhm.
beautiful
Mhm.
husband, 2 beautiful children now. And
Mhm.
she's got her life insurance
Mhm.
intact for herself and her family as a result of that. But my dad had the money saved, so to speak, in an
Mhm.
account to be able to pay for her services.
Mhm.
So that's the other offsetting for life insurance. If you've got
Right.
10 grand in the bank, cash money, to
Mhm.
pay the person at the funeral
Mhm.
home, that's fine. You don't need life insurance.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
once you get a certain age, you may not qualify for it. But if you're
Mhm.
90 years old and you've got 10 grand in the bank, cash,
Mhm.
liquid, that's all you need. I wouldn't even try to sell you a life insurance policy
Mhm.
because,
Right.
dude, you got the money in the bank. I just want you to have it in a money market account that's
Mhm.
giving you 2 or 3%
Right.
interest a month, that's worth
Mhm.
your while, and not just in a regular savings account with 0.002%.
Right.
So, have the money in a place where it's working for you, not
Mhm.
against you, and of course against inflation.
Yes, I know someone that passed away and they didn't have life insurance. That wasn't their thing, but they had money.
That's
And
all
the
you
money
need.
that meant money for his burial and then money for his wife, that it was left behind. So, yeah, so life insurance is really basically to protect yourself in the case that, well, explain what life insurance is.
Yeah, and I love your friend who did that and
Mhm.
made sure that he
He
planned
was older.
well.
That was a friend's friend. He was older. So yeah,
But he
yeah, yeah,
planned.
exactly.
Just
Because that wasn't their
imagine.
thing. They didn't want to do life insurance. So they just
Right.
saved, but they were well off. You know what I'm saying? So,
But still, it
yeah.
took him having a plan to make
Hmm.
that happen,
Hmm.
because, I can say, my dad did the, same thing. He had money in
Hmm.
the bank when he
Hmm.
passed, and then he had everything set in place for his wife to have
Hmm.
money. Oh, she's got enough money coming in to take care of her for the whole year, each and every
Hmm.
year she continues
Hmm.
to live. Because that person planned for that event,
Hmm.
they planned for that to
Hmm.
happen. So I don't knock that at all. I'm like, more power to you. If you got the cash, then that's truly amazing. But not everybody thinks like that. Not
Right.
everybody, walks that way of life and save and,
Hmm.
be well off.
Or
And
have
so,
it, right, are able to do it. Yeah.
exactly. So that's kind of like I guess the reason the insurance exists, so you can transfer the
Hmm.
risk to somebody else, to take care of. But if I'm, like now married, and it's like he loses my income, then I want to make sure my husband has enough my income times 10 to take
Hmm.
care of him,
Hmm.
and for the next 10 years
Right.
and of
Hmm.
of living and everything like that. So, and then I have other people who are like, oh well, if I pass away tomorrow, I got this nice house, and the kids are older, they're
Hmm.
out of the home. My wife
Hmm.
can just sell the house, cash
Hmm.
out, and live somewhere, less expensive. We made memories in the house.
Mhm, mhm,
So,
mhm.
everybody wants to will plan differently
Right.
based on their lifestyle. But
Mhm,
life insurance is not the answer all be all to every situation, but it depends on your mindset. A lot of
mhm,
times, that relationship that you have with wealth, which your
mhm,
friend had a great relationship with wealth because he was able to,
mhm,
accumulate it and keep it. But
mhm.
of course, look at the people who may not have what they
Right.
have. And then
Mhm.
it's like I can afford to pay you $20, $30 a
Mhm.
month to for
Mhm.
$100,000 worth of life insurance.
Mhm.
But, I'd rather do that and rent a policy, so
Mhm.
to speak, than, just save up $100,000 in my lifetime.
Right.
It takes
So
a lot of discipline.
it does, right? And then lower prices that's going on in the world. So, what would you say for a 30-year-old male or female that does not have children,
Mhm.
and maybe they don't have a lot of income per se? What
Mhm.
would your advice be to someone in that situation?
Mhm. Well, it depends on if they're renting or if they own a home. So with
If they're renting. Hmm.
Yeah, if they're renting or owning a home. So if they're renting, then you've got to look at, what that person's income is contributing to your rent. So
Hmm.
normally, two-parent family, two-parent household, there's a certain income. So let's
Hmm.
just say, they make uh $50,000 between the
Hmm.
two of them.
Hmm.
And if that person lost that $25,000 for that year, he wouldn't be able to stay in that apartment.
Hmm. Hmm.
So when she passes away, if she's making 25, she needs to at least have a $250,000 to
Hmm.
leave it for, and vice versa, leave it for the spouse,
Hmm.
so that they would be able to sustain their apartment for at least for the next 10 years, or find out how to get a better job, paying job, or, looking to live somewhere cheaper, things of
Hmm.
that nature. So you want to, I like the fact that life insurance gives you options when
Hmm.
that loved one passes away. It
Hmm.
gives you more options to consider. It gives you
Okay.
enough money to lay the person to rest in a comfortable way. Cremation is always, the least
Yeah, just
expensive
burn me.
way.
Save the money on the chicken. Get the chicken and a fish fry. That's why I'm like cremate me. That's what we doing.
Yeah,
I ain't putting
exactly.
money in the ground. Um,
Right.
yeah. So cremate me. Get a good DJ, some fried chicken, fish. Somebody want
Then your
vegetarian
favorite
food, all
drink.
of that.
What's your
Okay.
favorite drink? Just the bar of your favorite drink.
Water. Because I
Yeah.
drink more water than anything. So Janelle,
Okay.
you have a company called Financial Bliss Academy. So tell
Yes.
us about, so you offer financial advice to individuals to get them kind of stirred in the right direction, on the right track to where they need to be. Share that with us and what you do and offer.
hmm Well, Financial Bliss Academy, it's a spinoff of, what people may look at, the Financial Peace University with the Dave Ramsey, or
Hmm.
along those lines, in a financial coaching program.
Hmm.
So basically, with Financial Bliss Academy, it's an educational platform to
Hmm.
where I share with you the 7 money milestones.
Okay, what's
And
that? What's the 7 money milestones?
it's the various steps in what you can take in as far as saving your money,
Hmm.
budgeting, having the proper protection, and the wealth building, wealth creation. And so we take you through every aspect of your financial, portfolio. So we give you a free financial needs analysis, and then if you're having concerns with cash flow, then we
Hmm.
look at ways to where we make your money, work best for you.
Okay, awesome. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
because
Janelle. She got it, honey.
I'm not saying stop going to Starbucks. I'm just saying you got a Keurig machine at home. Just put that Starbucks pod in it and have the same coffee at
I
home.
know, for real.
Yeah.
For real.
So I
For
don't
real.
take away nothing that you got
Just do
vices.
it different. Hmm.
Just right. There may be a different way to do it.
Awesome.
And
Awesome.
and because I go to shopping, grocery shopping on the day that I know that they're going to mark down something that's going to expire in the next couple of days.
Hmm.
Those are at one of my stores is on a Wednesday. So
Hmm.
Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, I'm in that store. There's not a lot of people, and
Hmm.
I go there and look for everything that's 30% off.
Hmm.
And that's how I shop, because I'll
Hmm.
go and cook and eat, and and
Hmm.
everything like that, and I won't let it expire. And if it's something, I can just eat up right away, then I'll get that. But it's just it's not what you do, it's how it's not what you do, it's all about how you do things.
Yeah, and also sometimes some of the things that are expiring in the supermarket in the stores, it's just that they can no longer sell it at
Right.
that date. It doesn't mean that it's expiring, that it's no longer good. Even with
Mhm.
medication, but that's a whole nother show. So when you buying it, like if you buy some bread that say it's an expiration date and you bite a piece, then it's stale. You ain't. But bread, like I'm not a bread person like that. If I buy it, it's a treat, and I put bread in the freezer. You see
Mhm.
what I'm saying? I learned that from my mother. She's
Right.
like, you don't just take out what you need, put it in the freezer, and take out. just take out one piece of bread if that's what you need, so it doesn't have to spoil. And then Geraldine also, when the bread do spoil, not that when it's spoiled, when no one's going to use it, she'll use the bread from the
Mhm.
freezer and make the stuffing for Thanksgiving. But that's a whole
And
nother workshop.
oh yeah, that
Get
food.
all your
Oh
money.
yes.
Get
Oh
all of
yeah.
this. Yes.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
Financial Bliss Academy, do you do workshops as for groups, or do you do individual? You do both?
We do both. So we do
Awesome.
individuals, couples, and people who are self-employed, and organizations. So if you have a church organization, a sorority, fraternity,
Mm-hmm.
even at work, in the workplace now, there's almost a requirement now to have your people with the whole mental health and wellness
Mm-hmm.
program. There's a
Mm-hmm.
financial wellness to
Mm-hmm.
business, and to, you have that person working for you and they not keeping their finances together. Well, they're not going to be a good employee if they stressed out about money. So a lot of like companies are offering the
Mm-hmm.
financial education services as well. So I'm able to serve, all communities, people from all walks of life. I talked to someone today that they help with the transitional housing for women and men in
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta. And I was like, I'll be happy to come and share, because next month's domestic violence awareness month,
Mm-hmm.
and with women and our men who are survivors of domestic violence,
Mm-hmm.
there's that money that some of the people who
Mm-hmm.
are like keeping them in that relationship, because and they're
Yes.
holding them hostage because of that money situation, and they
Mm-hmm.
can't get out of their domestic situation
Mm-hmm.
because of the money part of it. So I help
Yeah.
people from all walks of life, and getting through that, whatever that situation may be, to where you're lacking in a sense mentally, but then
Mm-hmm.
showing and sharing ways, the way to empower you, to where now we can just do things differently, better,
Mm-hmm.
and make a better plan for your future.
Yes, and improve on it. So yeah, so again, September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. However, Janelle is here sharing with us just tips on finances, period, how to move. We are playing chess, not checkers. And it's Life Insurance Awareness Month. However, FYI, if you need life insurance, you can get life insurance all year long. And Janelle is also not only a financial educator and teaching the 7 tools of how to move your money. She's also a life insurance agent. Now, are you a life insurance agent in several states or just in certain states? Because I was an agent, so I know that you can get reciprocity. Um, so if somebody call you from Alaska, you ready to sell them that policy?
Only only if they're ready to buy. No, actually, I'm not licensed in all 50 states. I have about 7 or 8 states
Mhm.
that's licensed under my belt.
Mhm.
Every year I have to do continuing education and renew
Mhm.
my license. I got 3 states that are coming due this month, actually, because it's my
Right.
birthday month.
Right.
So
Okay.
I got to finish the education part and renew those
Yes.
licenses. So it's about 7 or 8 different states in the southeast area, that
Okay.
I can, and I guess it's kind of like north, like Ohio,
Mhm.
Michigan, South
Mhm.
Carolina, Alabama,
Okay.
yeah, Georgia, and Missouri. So it's kind of like Midwest and Southeast and Florida,
Mhm.
all those different places.
Yes, get your reciprocity for them states, honey. But that's
Yes.
the great thing about being an insurance agent. You can get you just because you've already passed the test for your state, so you can
Yes.
just get it. So basically, if y'all need a policy and y'all someplace around this country and she ain't say that state, just give her a call. We have her information on the screen. You can reach out to Janelle and she can make it happen for you because all she got to do is pay for it.
Yes. Yes.
All she gotta do is
Hmm.
pay for
And
it.
if you need
That's
some
it.
extra money too, it's a good business, as you know. Back in the day when you were an agent,
Yeah,
it's some good money.
yeah, and I had so much going on. I didn't do my continuing education because I was licensed in about 6 states.
Hmm.
In about 6 states, I just don't want to sit for that test.
Yeah, I know. I
It's it,
understand.
it's for
Yeah.
real. Yes,
It's
it's
the
for
real
real.
deal. Yes.
Yes.
And and that's another thing too. People are having some cash flow issues, and I have,
Mm-hmm.
take a look at this opportunity to,
Mm-hmm.
become an agent, because, who knows, you can close on 2 pieces of business and make what you make in a month, just with an hour or 2 hours of your time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
it just depends, on who wants it, and
Right.
you
Right.
got it. So,
And here's the thing, when we're talking about finances, I was speaking to someone the other day and I was explaining how we have to have multiple streams of income. Because
yes.
if you're only working one job, whether that's a traditional quote unquote 9 to 5, you're an entrepreneur, you have to be doing more than one thing because everything has a season. So my father had an ice cream business for over 20 years. People buy ice cream mostly in the summertime.
Mhm.
They're not looking for an ice cream truck to come through their neighborhood in December if they're in a state that snows. So you have to
Mhm.
have something else going on, and it's okay. So you might have a brick and mortar ice cream store, but at the same time, people not coming to a brick and mortar to get ice cream all the time in December. So we have to really stretch ourselves. And what's really wonderful and what's came out of the pandemic is really entrepreneurs. I was looking at something with TV Jakes, and he was saying that Black women businesses are growing at such a rapid speed at
Mhm.
this time, but we also still have to have certain things in place to be successful because they're growing at rapid speed, but they're falling also and shutting down because we have to have the proper information. We have to have coaches in place, people, mentors that can really guide us. And what would you say to that information?
I agree with you 100%. And what I have a coach, I have a mentor, I have a financial. I don't do my own finances, and my husband,
Mm-hmm.
we work together, and we have somebody that we talk to.
Mm-hmm.
It be in because I can see it, and when you in it, then it's like, okay, you can miss something because you're
Right.
right there, so close to it. But with someone else on the outside looking in, they can see things about you, and they can, take
Mm-hmm.
on, something, and be like, hey, have you considered this? And it would be something
Mm-hmm.
that you haven't thought about. So, I totally agree that it's very important, to have mentorship. My mentorship comes from like two different people. Lamar Tyler, with the Tyler New Media Group. He's
Mm-hmm.
a mentor of
Mm-hmm.
mine, I consider, and there's various other mentors like Michelle Singletary
Mm-hmm.
in
Back
the
in the
financial.
day. Mm-hmm.
Yes, she's still going strong. And
Mm-hmm.
so, just reading a lot of different books and from a
Mm-hmm.
lot of different people. Then I think I'm reading Tony Robbins' book about
Mm-hmm.
mastering your money. And then, of
Mm-hmm.
course, I've had, the Dave Ramsey books, the Susie Orman
Mm-hmm.
books I've gone through and read. And, it's just really, sticking to the an opportunity and looking at what's going to work best for you, who's going to work best with you. And if you are building at a rapid pace, it's great to go fast, but then have a plan. And I shared the scripture with you before earlier. It's like, in Jeremiah, 29:11, it's like, the plans that I have for you to prosper you, so declares the Lord, and not to harm you, but plans to give you hope for a future. Because, and it's all about planning. So
Mm-hmm.
for the people who do have the businesses that may not be, that may be doing great, but then they
Mm-hmm.
plateau and then they fall, there's always the planning needs to happen at
Mm-hmm.
every level
Mm-hmm.
of their
Very good.
business.
Awesome. Now let me ask you this, not to put your business out there or anything. So your husband, is he financial savvy, and is he or he lets you handle that because that's important.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yes, my husband and I, we met at the insurance company,
Okay.
my marketing organization. That's how we met, at the
Okay.
corporate office of the insurance marketing organization I represent.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I knew, he believes in multiple streams of income, so we have a lot of likenesses. He's very
Mm-hmm.
good about money. He's
Mm-hmm.
frugal, but sometimes this is you go to if you I don't think he's gonna watch this, but um you got to, when it comes to prioritizing,
Mm-hmm.
that's where you've got to come to on one accord, with
Mm-hmm.
the things that I feel like, oh, it's super important for this. He's like, well, no, I think this is more important. So you have to compromise on those things that, he may prioritize, and then I may not think are as important, and then he may think something's like very important, and vice versa. So that whole money being a couple and compromising, and really prioritizing, things, is like super important to be on one accord with that. Sometimes you won't be. Sometimes you gotta say, okay, let me let you have your way, and
Right.
then be right later, and vice
Yes.
versa.
Well, that's good.
So
That's important that
yeah.
you all in the beginning because that's important to you, and it's evidently important to him because that's where you all met. So and money is a big thing in a relationship. It's like
Hmm.
money, intimacy. Which one? You know what I'm saying? Like they're right there
It's
together.
neck and neck.
So yeah,
Hmm.
the person having having an understanding of money or being open to have the understanding of money, I
Right.
think is important. Because I don't think that you cut someone off or not lose interest in a person if they just don't have certain knowledge. Because I think if you're into a person and they're not, it's your responsibility as their person that's into them to educate them.
Mhm.
And you would hope that they're open to it.
Yes, and it would be so. I had this couple. I must tell you the story. I was online dating at one point in my life,
Hmm.
and so he didn't have a lot, but he
Hmm.
had all these romantic things that we were doing, and it didn't take
Hmm.
a lot of money. This
Hmm.
dude had money stacked in the bank because he was looking for his wife, and this was a story. He's like, "No, I'm looking for a wife right now," and I was like, "Oh,
Hmm.
really?" But he's like, "Oh yeah, I just have a bed and just the basic necessities of life." Because he was stacking his cash for a house. So when he met his the woman that
The
he was going to
one.
marry, then he had the money to like, okay, let's do this wedding thing and let's move into a
Hmm.
house. But he
Hmm.
presented himself like he was just a man of little means, but had money
Hmm.
in the bank. And I had this other girlfriend of mine. I'd be like, hey, you want to go do so and so? She
Hmm.
says, well, I don't have the money for that. That didn't mean she didn't have money. She
We
didn't have
talked about
money
that.
for
For
that.
that, that's not what she chooses to put her money. No, that's for
Right.
real. When people,
Hmm.
I'm like, no, I don't have money for that. Oh, I'm not interested in that. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. But you know what? I really think that if we get more to those things, and also don't shame people and make people feel bad, because
Yeah.
like that doesn't mean they don't have it. That's not what I choose to spend my money on. You
Yeah.
understand? That's not what I
Mhm.
choose to spend my money on. And I think that we have so much. We have so much coming at us. We have so many options as far as restaurants, and especially here in Atlanta,
Mhm.
restaurants, entertainment, all of these things.
Oh yeah.
If you have it like that and you can attend everything in your spirit and in your finances, then whatever works for you.
Right.
Me, I'm not interested in going every place, spending my money everywhere, being on every scene, because all of it is not always all important to me. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I think we have to be wiser as people individually with making those types of choices. Because
Mhm.
if you sit and think about all of the places to eat,
Oh gosh,
and people are like,
yes.
girl, you want to go eat here? You no,
Yes.
it's
I
too
like
much.
yeah, $50 for the brunch menu and mimosas unlimited. Yeah. I'm
And
like,
then people
yeah.
doing that 2 and 3 times a week, and then they like, I'm short because you need to balance. Like you're doing too much. Because when you really think now about groceries and you think about that
Mhm.
$50, you can have some, and you can invite somebody over your house. Y'all can cook together, have a good time, and watch Peacock.
Exactly. Yes. And that's the other thing with the streaming services and everything. People are cutting the cord on cable
Hmm.
and they're just using the streaming services and all you need is internet and $20 a month for Netflix or whatever you
Hmm.
want to watch and and you can save that $200 a month, with what you're paying out for cable because you're only watching two or three stations anyway. So, and
Girl,
then I get my news online.
look at
So,
my face.
yeah.
When I tell you I
Yes.
was on Friday, I was chatting with my internet because all I have is internet and I have streaming because streaming can break you too.
Yeah, it
It's
can.
depending on, so we sharing over here. We got with my tribe, we share who got this, who got that, who got, and we sharing.
Yeah, let's
So
party over here, party over there. Yeah.
right. So I actually of course everybody got Amazon Prime because everybody got Amazon, right? But I actually, what I paid a month for my internet, it went up over $25. $25.20. First of all, the 20 cents is petty. Okay.
Mm.
First of all, you don't need that 20 cents. You could just say the $25.
But times a million people,
I
that's
know
what the
I'm joking, but for real, exactly.
yeah,
It's only a penny though, that those add up as a
yeah.
business.
It's
But
a
I was
million people, it's
online.
$1 million. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm telling people, you really have to do your research. So that $25, I started chatting, and she was like, "Oh, they always want to hit you with this one. Oh, we have this very special deal going on right now." Da, 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 da. I ain't here for all of that. All I need is internet. What I have now is fast. You understand? So I don't
Mhm.
need anything. I'm not impressed by. See, the average person is impressed by all those things. What I have now is working for me. So don't be
Mhm.
adding $25.20 to it. Just try. No, 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 no. Oh, you were in an agreement for this amount of time. But by the time I got off that phone, sometimes you got to do the work and be patient and hang in there. My bill was reduced. Now I'm
Ooh.
calling back because I still want my $25.20 back. Because here's the thing: if my contract ended on that day, why didn't you inform me and say this agreement is about to end? but we do have this offer. That offer ain't just come up that day. That offer been there. But
Mm-hmm.
they don't expect anyone to challenge them or call in. They're gonna keep, no, I'm not giving you $25.20. That's gas money. I go to Costco, I can fill my tank up.
Exactly. And
So we
that's
have to
called
watch
keeping
those
up with the
things.
Joneses.
Yeah.
So I have a portion of my book called Keeping Up with the Joneses.
That's what
Because
going
it's a real
everywhere,
thing.
eating all of that thing. Yeah, I'm not.
It's
I
a
ain't
real
for it.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm
We
not.
not doing it.
No, I'm not. I'm not for it. I'm not buying into it. So, and I have me and a girlfriend. We were laughing today talking about how we have DVD players, Blu-ray. Because I was like, I want a record player. I need a cassette. Because I have these things. Do you know,
Right.
girl? I still have over 28 years. I was like, call it 25 because I haven't been doing it. Cassette tapes. I don't know if you used to always record myself by cassette. I have all of
Hmm.
those. I need to listen to my tapes.
Yeah.
So
And
I'm getting
that's
me a cassette player. You better go through a Goodwill or a
Brand
thrift
Smart.
store.
No, Brand Smart sell them.
You know, I ain't never been in Brand Smart.
Yeah,
I'm in Brand Mark. I never been in there.
yeah,
I need
Brand
to go in
Smart.
there. Y'all
Yeah,
gonna give me
Brand
a
Smart
record
have
player.
everything. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. So those types of things,
And it's
that's
less
what's important.
expensive. Yeah, it won't be top dollar. It'll be refurbished, but it's going to still
Okay.
work.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
that's those things are
Yeah.
important to me. You know what I'm saying? Like my sister said to me, you need a bigger television. Why? I see the television fine, especially when I put my glasses on. Everything looks crisp to me. So
Right.
I don't fall into all of those things. So what
Yes.
would you like to leave us with, Janelle, in regards to financial education, Bliss Financial Academy? What would you like to leave us with?
Yes, well, you plan for the rainy day, as they say, and of course we've had a rainy few years, so proper planning is what I do and help people, and just you can get my book on moneyjustflewoutthewindow.com. It's available on Amazon. If you want a free book now called How Money Works, then you would go to my website, about how money works. But the other part I think that we didn't touch on was credit, which we can say that
Mm,
for another time. You can go to smartcredit.com and /FBA and find out about your FICO score, your insurance score, and your work score. So
mm.
knowing how people look at you from your financial aspect, whether or not they're gonna hire you, whether or not they're gonna extend credit to you, then you want to know what all, and then of course your rate that you was talking about, within insurance rates being higher. They're looking at some information that you don't even know exists. So that
It's free.
smartcredit.com.
That's
Um,
free information, or you have to pay for it.
with the
The smart credit.
smartcredit.com, it's a minimum $35 a month to get all three of your scores. But you can
Hmm.
get your credit reports for free for a year from all three bureaus. So
That's
that
right.
your credit reports are free, but of course, if for the credit scoring and all of that information, it even told me, hey, if you pay this much more extra on this credit card, your score will jump up 17 points. And so I was like, oh my gosh, if I put in more money on this, bill, and it told me how much my credit score would increase, then that's why I love that smart credit program. Because it tells you all that stuff.
And
So,
that's important. And like I tell people, sometimes you might have a bill. If you pay something on it, they have to report it to the credit bureau.
mhm.
So just pay something on it. It may be
Yeah.
petty or small to you. Pay something on it so it can get moving. But yes, that's good information because I've always heard about your credit score for your, like, to be hired and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And some people are like, oh, I applied for this job and I wasn't hired, and I know they're well qualified. So
Mhm.
it could have been the whole thing with the credit. Wow. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing about all of these are tools because they look at credit and how you handle money. And like you said, a person at work, stress and all of those things. I guess if you fall into a financial bind while you're working with them, that's different than if you come in the door
Mhm.
and you have that stress. So like, okay, what can we expect from this person? How do they handle themselves? So Janelle, you better go ahead, girl. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
You're wait a minute, and your skin is just glowing. You look so pretty. Look, and you so focused, honey. She's so focused giving this
Yeah.
information. Janelle is
Wait,
always
yeah.
on point. She's going to
Yeah.
dot the I's, cross the T's, give you more information than you need. And I love and appreciate you. You so dope. And I'll
Yeah.
see you in a
I
few
love you
weeks.
too. I love you too. Thanks, Queen.
You're welcome,
Yes.
baby.
I love you
Thank you so
too.
much for your yes. And I will see you soon.
I'm here to
Peace.
help.
Thank you. Peace and blessings.
Teach
Thank you
you how
so
money
much.
works.
Yes,
Thanks.
how money works, baby. Thank you, Janelle Pulley.
You're
I'm not even saying your
welcome.
last name no more. Say it for me. Your
Borzotra.
husband, Bozotra.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you
Love
also.
you.
Love you, baby. Thank you so much for checking out I Know Dope People with Queen Aishah. We had my friend Janel Pulley on. She gave you information, honey. Information. Make sure you check out all of those websites and do your due diligence to make sure you're on track, whether you need life insurance, financial support. You can also reach out to Janelle to get information individually, workshops, and all that. We here for you, boo. My name is Queen Aishah. I love and appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching, and check us out again on another dope episode of I Know Dope People with Queen Aishah. If you have not, please like, subscribe, and share on my YouTube channel, Queen Aishah. Peace.